who are these people?
Yeah, and I think also that critics, and I don't know why, but they seem to feel a need to judge any project by how is it looking at the lens through today's new question morality? What should we be making movies about?
So that was a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast as he interviewed Taylor Sheridan, who is the creator of Yellowstone and 1883 and 1923 with Harrison Ford and a few other shows that are coming. And in this podcast, Joe Rogan talks to him and he reveals what we've been saying on this channel for years about how Hollywood just does not get us, the regular people. And he explains his frustrations there. And I'm going to react to this. I added some B-roll as well to make it a little more entertaining and also to add some context for those of you who aren't familiar with the show. And so that will be that. Also, stick around to the end because I'm going to show you a funny clip from one of his shows where Sylvester Stallone, who's the star of the show, talks about woke pronouns and what his opinions on those are. So let's go.
And write my own. But yeah, 1883 was me. Yellowstone's the punk rock me. There's a fair amount of... it has no plot, really. You know, don't take my land, I want your land.
Right.
And in that, I have a lot of opportunities to poke fun, but also kind of point out different points of views and kind of really study a way of life in a world. But there's a lot of defiance in the way that I do it. It's not surprising that critics hate it because it's designed for them
Critics
to hate.
hate what? They hate Yellowstone?
Critics hate Yellowstone, and he's going to get into why. But I like the show because it doesn't involve any kind of politics in your face, any kind of agenda in the storytelling. It's just telling a story. And like you said, it's not really plot driven. It's just character driven. But the characters are written so well. And it's written in a way where we are endeared to them for the reasons we mentioned on the show, because they actually have flaws, but they have values that we also share as well. So it's a fantastic show. I recommend people who don't mind violence and some other things too, to check it out.
And confounded by its success.
Oh, God.
Can't get their heads around why it's success. There's been, New York Times has done multiple articles where they're doing like this essay on how is this shit so popular.
Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny that they don't get it.
1883 was me grown up saying like, hey, let's take a look back at history.
Yeah.
Let's look at us and who us is as far as.
So 1883 is the show which goes back many, many years to the origins of Yellowstone. You get to see how they got their property, and it goes through the hardships of having to go out west and try to capture that land and what they had to go through. And it gives you a whole new appreciation for everyone who tried to make us a name for themselves and to provide for their families in a time when it was very dangerous and hostile to people. And it kind of flies in the face of this whole white privilege narrative. And that's another reason why the left hates this, because it actually explains this and lets people understand and they can identify and say, oh, well, maybe they do deserve that land after what they had to go through to get it.
The Europeans who settled this place. And let's not argue about whether they should or shouldn't have. Let's just look at what the hell they went through to do it.
Critics are less relevant today than at any time in human history. They really are. They're off so much more than they're on.
Yeah, agreed.
And most people don't buy into it at all. Like if you look at a perfect example is one of Dave Chappelle's specials. The critic score was like 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then the public score was 97%.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
That's all my...
And see, that happens all the time with Rotten Tomatoes and these woke shill medias, this Access Hollywood media. And the interest is in them to make the video, the movie, whatever it is, TV show, make it look better than what it is, because they get tickets to the junkets, they get tickets to their red carpet events, they get all the packets and the deals, and they also get invited back to more stuff. They get to, be involved in that little circle. So there is no incentive for them to really be honest. But critics themselves don't get the fact that the average person watches it for other reasons. They watch it to be entertained and not to be preached to, which is why shows like Yellowstone, 1883, and a few others, and many others for that matter, out there are more popular, way more popular than what the critics have to say. We saw this with Captain Marvel. When that first came out, the critic score was actually high, but then you had the audience score was so low, they actually had to hide it from the people. And that was really a telltale sign there because they were shilling for Disney.
Shows.
Who are you? Like, who are these people? Who are these people that are critics?
I have a show called Mayor of Kingstown, which is all about literally the decay of an American city. And I think it was 21% on Rotten Tomatoes and 94% audience rating, something like that. Something bananas. Yeah, and I think also that critics, and I don't know why, but they seem to feel a need to judge any project by how is it looking at the lens through today's new question morality? What should we be making movies about?
See, when we say agenda, this is what we're talking about. Because Hollywood's saying, what should we be making films about, and what should we tell people should come out of this? And I mentioned this in my live stream this past weekend. If you get a chance to take a look at it, it's actually on Rumble. But check that out, because I talk about how the left doesn't understand the morality that's inside of us, that's placed there by God in Romans 1 and other places in the Bible. And because of that, they can't get around that. So they have to suppress, they have to force, they have to do these kind of things to kind of put it in your face and hope that it sticks. And even though it doesn't, because we all know it's crap. And so that's what he's saying here. And he'll finish up here. And this is what I'm going to be talking about a lot more when it comes to media. This is what he calls quote unquote the holy grail of entertainment. I'm gonna go back a little bit and get the whole thing, and let's go again.
Looking at the lens through today's new question morality. What should we be making movies about? And you can make a shitty movie about something that they support, and they're gonna support that movie. But that's not my job. My job as a storyteller is to pick a world and look through the window. And
let me stop real quick. The show media will take a crappy movie, but as long as it has something to say that they care about in terms of agenda, they will give it a good review. And that's not right.
Not judge it and go, hey, here's what it was.
Yeah.
And here's the decision some people made. And, for me, the holy grail as a storyteller is entertain, educate, and enlighten. Don't give anybody answers, just lots of questions to think about. That's my job.
So that was Taylor Sheridan talking about Hollywood and how he wants to write things his way and how the media hates things he writes because they don't have the agenda that they actually want to push forth and down our throats. So here's a clip from one of Taylor Sheridan's shows called Tulsa King. It stars Sylvester Stallone. And in this clip, he will explain to you what his feelings are on pronouns. Check this out.
What's going on with this country in general nowadays? And these pronouns. What the pronouns? He, she, him, they, the, boom, bang, bop, bong, cool. You know what my pronoun is? Guess. Time's up. Okay. It, as in it, can't take this anymore.
So what are your thoughts on this reaction? What are your thoughts on what Taylor Sheridan had to say? If you like what we do here, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.